I'm Teisha Bader with Shalom TV's news update for Tuesday, November the 5th, 2013. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry arrived in Israel tonight. He'll meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas separately tomorrow. Kerry's visit comes amid reports of no real progress in peace talks between Israel and Palestinian negotiators and tensions on both sides. The Jerusalem Post reports that President Abbas told Fatah leaders yesterday that the negotiations have not borne any fruit thus far and warned that the talks may implode. He also said he wouldn't agree to an Israeli security presence in the Jordan Valley or recognize Israel as a Jewish state. Palestinian officials expressed that Secretary of State Kerry's visit was a last-ditch effort, in their opinion, to try and salvage the peace talks. In an interview with I-24 News in Israel, Netanyahu said the Palestinians were creating, quote, an artificial crisis as a result of Israel's announcement of construction in East Jerusalem and the settlements, which followed the release of Palestinian security prisoners. Netanyahu said if they can't even stand behind the agreements that we had, that we release prisoners but we continue building, then how can I see that they will actually stand by the larger issues that will require them far greater confrontation with received opinion and fixed positions in their society? He added, if you want to lead, stand up. Spokesperson for the Prime Minister's office have said that both the Palestinians and the Americans knew that the prisoner release would coincide with the announcement of continuing settlement construction. The Jerusalem Post also said that Israeli government officials said yesterday that Israel is not opposed in principle to a peace proposal from the U.S. if it ensures Israel's security and a Palestinian recognition of Israel as a Jewish state. This was in response to comments made yesterday, as we reported to you, by Meretz chairwoman Zahava Gal'on, who said that the U.S. would intervene in peace talks and could be presenting a draft of a peace plan in January. Meanwhile, Kerry said during a press conference in Saudi Arabia yesterday that beyond the direct discussions and talks between the U.S., Israel, and the Palestinian leaders, there is, quote, no other plan at this point in time. IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Benny Gantz left Israel today for a 4-day visit to Europe, where he will be meeting with his counterparts and other defense officials to discuss joint security challenges and military cooperation, as well as the latest regional security assessments on the Middle East. Gantz's first stop is Italy, where he will be meeting with his counterpart Admiral Luigi Benelli Mentelli. From there, Gantz will continue to Germany for a 3-day visit, where he will be hosted by the German Chief of Staff, General Volker Weicker. Reuters reports that the United Nations called for an Israeli ban on importing building material into Gaza to be lifted. The ban was imposed after the discovery last month of a 1.5-mile-long Hamas tunnel, which was designed for terror attacks on Israeli citizens or for the kidnapping of an IDF soldier. Director of Gaza Operations for the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, Robert Turner, said that the ban had stopped work on all but one of its 20 Gaza building projects and called for the ban to be lifted. A spokesman for the Israeli government agency that oversees shipments into Gaza gave no indication when the ban might be lifted, and he said that for the time being the ban had to stay in place for security reasons. A group of Jewish organizations have joined together to launch a proactive campaign on Jewish ritual circumcision. The Brit Milah working group met in Brussels last week to work on a coordinated strategy to defend the Jewish ritual in light of recent calls to ban it across Europe. Most recently, the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe passed a non-binding resolution last month which urged member states to initiate a public debate over circumcision and called it a violation of the physical integrity of children. The Brit Milah working group includes delegates from the European Jewish Congress, as well as the Union of Moelim, or ritual circumcisers in Europe, Milah UK, and the Conference of European Rabbis. European Jewish Congress President Moshe Kantor said for too long, European Jewry has been reactive to sporadic attacks on religious practices. However, the enemies of Jewish tradition, he said, are becoming more united and coordinated, and so we must create a unified, coordinated, and long-term strategic response to these attacks. eBay has apologized for allowing Holocaust memorabilia to be listed and sold on their auction site and have removed the items. This follows an investigation by the Sunday edition of Britain's Daily Mail, which reported that 30 items, including a complete Auschwitz uniform as well as a pair of shoes allegedly belonging to concentration camp victims, as well as yellow Star of David armbands, were among items offered on the eBay site. eBay spokesman Steve Haywood said, "We are very sorry that these items have been listed on eBay, and we are removing them. We don't allow listings of this nature," he said, "and dedicate thousands of staff to policing our site and use the latest technology to detect items that shouldn't be for sale. We very much regret that we didn't live up to our own standards," he said, adding eBay had made a donation to charity to reflect our concern. Tonight on L'chaim, Mark Golub remembers controversial leader of the Jewish Defense League, Rabbi Meir Kahane, who was murdered on this date in 1990, with excerpts of L'chaim interviews. That's at 9 p.m. And then at 9:30 tonight, Mimi Kamilar, who serves as a consultant for Nachal Haredi, which is an organization that works closely with Israel's Ministry of Defense and the IDF, talks to Mark Golub about her work facilitating the participation of ultra-Orthodox Jews in the IDF. That's tonight here on Shalom TV and ShalomTV.com.
Land van Chumash, vliegen het de boom of laar. Lustig is die zon en warm, is den kalten heute schwan.
And finally today, the Queen of Jewish Song, Chana Mlotek, died yesterday at the age of 91. Chana Mlotek's extraordinary grasp of Yiddish music made her an invaluable source of information to thousands upon thousands of Jews and non-Jews who found enjoyment and Jewish soul in the Yiddish language, Yiddish culture, and Yiddishkeit itself. A wonderful and generous resource for Yiddish scholars and Jewish musicians, Chana Mlotek, together with her late husband Joseph, edited 3 major Yiddish song compilations. Yiddish writer and Nobel laureate Isaac Bashevis Singer once called Chana and Joseph the Sherlock Holmeses of Yiddish folk songs. Chana also compiled and cataloged thousands of sheets of music as an archivist at the YIVO Institute for Jewish Research, the nation's principal repository of Yiddish culture. Chana Mlotek's son Zalman, the renowned artistic director of the National Yiddish Theater Volksbühne, described his parents' contribution to the world of Yiddish music by saying that thanks to the two of them, Yiddish music became more than just songs. They were documents of a living, breathing culture. Chana Mlotek is also survived by son Mark, who is the president of the Volksbühne and a former president of the Workman Circle. And Chana is also survived by 5 grandchildren and a great-grandchild. Upon hearing of Chana Mlotek's passing, Shalom TV president Mark S. Golub said that the entire Jewish world lost a beloved matriarch, and that Shalom TV viewers who have benefited immeasurably from the unique contribution Chana Mlotek made through her own love of Yiddish music will miss the fruits of her creativity and commitment to Jewish life. Mark also extends on behalf of the entire Shalom TV family his profound condolences to a dear friend of Shalom TV, Zalman Mlotek, whose life and work is an enduring monument to his beloved mother. And we extend our sympathies to the entire Mlotek family. And that's Shalom TV's news update for Tuesday, November the 5th, 2013. I'm Teisha Bader.